Hello, it's Damon the Global Gardener, video 30, Urban Food Forest at Browns Mill, Atlanta, Georgia. This is a couple of things. Georgia known for its peaches. This is a nectarine. You can tell by the leaves. And I dug around here looking for the name of it. It looks like maybe that grew just from a peach pit or it was just in with the plum tree that's in here. Where's the plum tree? The plum tree's in the back. I don't know if you can see it. But it is actually a named variety, and that is the Santa Rosa plum, which is fascinating to me because that's how I got started on my agriculture path and my passion for plants. In Santa Rosa, California, where I'm native to, where I was born, there was a man named Luther Burbank I mentioned in, I think, the first video of this series at this food forest, Luther Burbank, in the, what was it, like the 20s to, I think he passed in the 50s or so, later 50s, and he developed 800 different varieties of plants, which is phenomenal. It's very bright out here. Like a rock star plant breeder of today or any other time, like 8 plants is like huge rock star thing, and he did like 800. Yeah, lots of flowers. It was his favorite thing. The Shasta daisy, but also the Santa Rosa plum was how he got started. That there were plum growers that wanted to get a crop faster because it takes like 7 years to get a decent crop, and so he bred a particular kind of plum and put it on a particular kind of rootstock, and so he was able to get plums in like 3 to 4 years instead of 7 years. So I think they paid him like $150, and he took that and bought his experimental farm in Santa Rosa, California back in the day, and started plant breeding there. He had 2 sites out there. He had a home that you can tour in downtown Santa Rosa, California, and then in Sebastopol, like what is it, maybe 12 miles west of downtown. Sebastopol, California has his former experimental farm. It's mostly apartments now, but there you can do tours, and they do have plant sales and some interesting stuff going on there. They try to restore some of his plant ideas, and they have some of his old records of things that he was tracking their evolution of. So there's a few interesting things there left to see, and but mostly they just sort of landscape it like it's, I don't know, nobody really cares. Unlike you and me, right? And so here we have the Santa Rosa plum. When I was about, let's see, I lived in Santa Rosa. I grew up in the same house till I was about 12, 13. And when I was like 2 or 3 or 4, my dad would plant tomatoes, and I always thought that was a miraculous thing, that you'd put a plant in the ground. I saw a tomato back here, and that you'd put a plant in the ground, and not only would the plant grow, but the plant would like get bigger noticeably, and then like on Christmas it had like these, well, it would have flowers which were like pretty, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, and then it would develop, green orbs on it, like ornaments, and then as the season went on, the ornaments got larger and larger, and then they would change color, and then they were these red things, and then you could eat them, and that they were delicious. So that like blew my mind as a 4-year-old, playing around with the hose in the mud in the garden. So that was my early introduction. And then later, I was maybe 7 or 8 or 6. Fuzzy childhood memories. But what I do remember clearly is my dad planting with me, because you plant in the dormant season, and my birthday's in December, a Santa Rosa plum, and we went out and planted it in the backyard, and he said, son, this is your plum tree. I was like, oh, cool, that's neat. So but it was just like a stick in the winter. It was like, cool, Dad, that's cool. But then in the season it put out leaves, and then it got bigger, and neat, my own tree. Okay, go play in the yard and whatever, ride my BMX bike in the dirt next door in the old walnut orchard in the neighborhood that became subdivisions where I lived in the 1970s. And then the next year, bigger. Next year, had flowers. Ooh, like tomato. And then fruit. Oh my God, like 5 fruits. And super delicious. The Santa Rosa plum, if you ever get a chance to enjoy the Santa Rosa plum, absolutely delicious. Beautiful, like the skin purple, the inside rosy and peachy colored, and the flavor is unlike anything else. So just blew my mind again with those, and then in different ways, flavoring, and then the next year, more plums. Like, oh boy, you know, I can almost eat all these, and then but I hate that some of them are going to waste. Then the third year, like so many that I couldn't even deal with them. So I was like, Mom, what do I do? There's so many plums, and I don't want them to waste because this is my tree. Like I felt, you know, responsible for it. And so my mom said, well, take these paper lunch bags and fill them with plums, and put the bags in your red wagon. You know, everybody had a radio flyer back then, and go around the neighborhood and see if anybody wants to buy a bag of plums for 50 cents. Okay, sure. So, sure enough, I sell out of plums, and people are so excited. So, wow. So yeah, so did that for a few years in a row, and then people started asking, well, can I have some like, you know, less ripe ones and more ripe ones, like a mix of them, so that they're not all ripe at the same time? Because I was like, oh, everybody wants like the super ripe ones because these are amazing and you're just going to plow through them. But that was an interesting request, so I heard that and then put in a variety of plums at different stages of ripening. And so that's my larger introduction to tomatoes, and then plums, and then landscaping at the neighbors' houses. They wanted the trimming and the leafing pick up and stuff. And then the community college where I met Bob Kennard. If you've ever seen the Carrot Shaman, there's a video, Dirt or something like that. I don't remember the whole title, but he's in that. Really entertaining character. He runs his farm out of Sonoma, California, and has a green string farm in Petaluma, California. And you can do internships there, and I highly recommend that. Very fascinating. You'll be inspired forever like me, and learn just things you just really can't. Nobody's actually teaching what he does. Rock dust minerals for fertilizing, and various compost teas, and just his whole philosophy and outlook based in nature for growing food. Incredible. And of course his food is incredible. It's served in Alice Waters restaurant in San Francisco. Or is that in the East Bay? She's got a few of them, but delicious, amazing, fresh awesomeness. He also helps wine grape growers produce just top world-class wine grapes. So here we are, back to this kind of sad little plum. Obviously the Nectarine of Georgia peach land is outdoing the plum so far. Kind of want to trim the Nectarine away from it, and so the Santa Rosa plum can have competitive advantage. But yeah, thanks for listening to my story. I don't get to tell the whole thing, really, kind of ever. So now it's in perpetuity on this YouTube channel for you to enjoy. But I spoke earlier in the last video about the vaccinium, these blueberries. This whole area is blueberries all the way over. Blueberries, along with the plum and the nectarine that snuck in there. So maybe somebody's lunch peach, or peach pit, nectarine pit they threw in there. I thought there might be more persimmons in here. I think those would do really well here. Is it too wet? No, I think they would do well here. But yeah, lots of blueberries. They're much too spaced out, although I like all the mulch, and I hope they didn't put that landscape fabric under here like I complained about on the last video. But cover over the drip tubing. That way you can regulate the moisture that you're, because it's not always going to rain, and there's the bananas. And then you can, we do this in New York City. Like, it does rain, but sometimes it will not rain for a month. And if you have containerized plants on penthouse terraces, they're going to need supplemental water. They need regular water to look good and to prosper. So So we do that to put in irrigation systems to deal with that. And so they have one here, although they are, oh, I see one of the hose bibs. They may have municipal connection at some kind of subsidized rate, being a community farm here, community garden. So so that's it for the amazing plum story and the blueberry garden here. And this was video 3, and I will come back and see you food forester, in video 4.